TownHall Heroes. I have no idea what is wrong with my computer. Lagif in that intro is absolutely astounding. I've recently started recording both audio and video, and my computer says, no, Jake, not gonna do that today. So, welcome to TownHall Heroes, episode number 132. This week we've got Shot and Halorin joining us here today. Dunk Train has the flu Aruni Dooney. And yeah, it should be a great episode. We've got a lot to talk about, talking about the PTR that just hit with the Tacit rework, Valeera, all that good stuff. We got sandbox mode. We've got some data mined information from the new patch, talking about Heroes of the Storm, Grassroots, and then HGC 2017 will be beginning this week. But before we hop into our topics, Shotman, how have you been?
I've been pretty good, man. How have you been?
Dude, I've been great. Talking about
nice. What's happening?
The browser just started playing audio. I'm getting bodied right now. Hashtag production. Your shirt is literally the galaxy. My camera just disappeared.
Yeah, you like that?
Oh my goodness. I need to.
Oh my god. XSplit, hello.
Yeah, this is a struggle. Yeah. Well, as we proceed forward, Halorin, welcome to the show, my friend. Since this is, in fact, your very first time, why don't you give yourself a brief intro? We know you cast, but tell us the tales of the Halorin.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Halorin. I am a caster for Cherry League. I've done Heroes Hype, some other amateur stuff. Bloodlust was a ton of fun. Most recently, I did the Gale Force Esports Jingle Brawl. Stream every now and again. Love being part of the community, so I'm really glad to be here. Like I've been watching TownHall Heroes, the mainstay of the community for so long. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's an honor to have you, my friend. And as we are proceeding forward, well, I think there's going to be some harmony in an announcement we're making tonight as to Grassroots Heroes. You're one of the, I would say, like almost like third generation casters. And you're not the only one, but like there's something that I'm working towards to build even more opportunities and help level that world up for everyone in the grassroots scene. But we're gonna save that announcement until our third topic here tonight. We're gonna open up right away. I mean, I have no idea what's wrong with my computer right now. It was great until the show started, but let's actually start by talking about the patch notes here. Can we also talk about how I stole Dunk Train's Twitter? Oh shit!
Oh,
dude! Hashtag.
Follow Shot at Dunk Train on Twitter.
I got this. I know I changed it, but I must have failed you. Standard Jake things, right?
I'm sorry to call you out on stream, man.
No, I deserve
Production
it.
value.
I deserve it. A night like this, it's just one of the many things. Okay, well...
You got mine right, then, so thanks for that.
All right, so the patch notes, this is the PTR patch. Again, this is not for the live server, but the PTR is live everywhere. So if you guys haven't tried it out, as in the viewers, be sure to do so. When it comes to the PTR, I think the most notable thing is the fact that Valeera has been added to the game, but we also have a Tacit rework. There are some changes to, I think it's just Varian and then Rexar. Those are the only other heroes that got changes?
Yes.
Slight change in my girl Lily, but she's fine.
I mean, she's still Lily. No offense. Sorry.
Hello?
She's still the same old Lily. She's good in some situations. Competitively, I'm saying competitively, Hal, you can play her all you want in your Hero League and quick match and stuff. Competitively, she's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean...
Sorry, one day we're accepted. Hey, so I'm on like
now. Like,
my support player Dark Chimera was like super excited. Oh, he's like, oh, Lily got a change. He went and he was like, oh, it's just a minor change.
bodied.
Feels good, man. Feels bad, man.
Feels good. Okay, let's hop into the patch notes here and take a look at what has changed. So the Lunar Festival has begun. We're getting some super kawaii skins. We're gonna get that Li Ming, the Li Mingus as I like to call her, and then of course Monkey King Samuro. But I think what everyone really cares about is the Lunar Rooster. However, I have yet to complete the Lunar Rooster race on the PTR, and I've played about 12 hours of PTR.
Same. I didn't understand it, actually. I've only done it once, because it only came up once, because queue times are super, super long on PTR.
Yeah.
But, I only got it to pop once for me, and I just didn't understand. I didn't also read the quest for it. So I'm just like, there's all these coins on the ground. I don't know what's going on. I'll collect them, and I take them back to the rooster. He's like, I reject your offering. I was like, what? Wait a minute. You can't reject my offer.
It says the rooster, you have failed to please the Lunar Rooster. Which is like... It's so good.
Oh, man.
But
I haven't tried for all that yet. I'm not breaking my neck to get the Lunar Rooster. Looks neat. But...
I am. I'm gonna play the Lunar Rooster. Any character that I do not have the ASU mount skin tint for, I'm gonna use the Lunar Rooster.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think the Lunar Rooster is like it's cool because like it's a really nice mount in terms of the meminess of it, right? It looks cool in its own right. It's unique, but it's also it's a dumb mount, right? It's great, but it's
hilarious.
It's a dumb mount, yeah. It's going to be free.
Aren't they releasing a golden version too?
Yes. So it's the mount itself is free if you play the 20 games during the Lunar Festival, I believe it is, to unlock it. And you get the portrait, which is great. I'm going to rock that portrait for a long time. And then there is a golden version of it, which is 10,000 gold. So that'll be the money pig version of the farm animal. So now we'll have a rooster and we'll have a pig. Eventually we'll get a golden cow. What other farm animals are? Maybe a golden duck. I would ride a duck mount so fast.
Same.
Quack. All right, let's jump into Valeera. She's the newest hero added to the game. And she is a stealth hero in the sense that her trait is a stealth, but she really isn't just Zeratul 2.0. Fundamentally, she's very different. Her stealth is a stance where she does have separate abilities in which she can do damage, stun, 1.5 seconds of stun, 2 seconds of silence with damage over time, or I guess that's what she has with her kit overall. She does have combos like a rogue. She truly is like a WoW rogue. Shot, what are your initial impressions after about a day with her being on the PTR?
I mean, me as well as my team, we all think she's actually really, really good. She's not as mobile as Zeratul is, but she still does insane damage, and her the control that she brings to a team fight is actually insane. You have to choose between whether you want to stun a target or silence a target. Sometimes the silence is far better than the stun, depending on the hero that you're going on. Like if you're going on a Tassadar, which I'm sure we'll get into later, you can silence the Tassadar, and that's basically just as good as stunning him, plus you get extra damage on him. Also, Valeera can, if taken a certain build, which I'm not sure the build exactly, but she can one-shot a Tassadar through silence.
Really?
With a shield on. It's insane. It's pretty crazy. I think she's going to be a very, very strong character on release, and she's going to be a meta pick for melee assassins. However, the only issue with it is that we're in a very melee-heavy meta right now, where all these big, beefy bruisers are in the front line, and she kind of requires more of a squishier backline that she can pick off, kind of like Zeratul, where Zeratul needs the ability to pick off a character in order to thrive, and you're not going to pick Zeratul into 4 melee characters.
Right. She really isn't the brawler. She's not Thrall. She's not looking for the straight up engage, the straight up fight like Thrall or Olorek would, but she's stealth, right? She's a rogue. She wants to slip into the backlines and ruin the targets. How flexible overall do you think her builds could be, Halorin? I mean, she's got some pretty good talents overall. We're talking about things from utility to being like anti-mage to the full-on burst damage that Shot was mentioning. What do you expect out of this hero?
Well, I mean, I think conceptually the hero opens herself up to a lot of possibilities, both in the talent diversity and just her overall play style. I think we'll see a lot of players like shine with very specific styles of builds for this character. I think she's just super versatile in that aspect, and anyone that likes to play like high mechanical skill, really feel comfortable in a specific hero and make plays, like Valeera is the definition of that.
This is definitely I don't want to pinpoint melee players, but this is like the show-off character for melee players. Just kind of how like Illidan was the show-off character for melee players, and they're like, oh yeah, if you can play Illidan really well, you're a really good melee assassin. He takes super high mechanics. Now Valeera is going to be that next character in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go for style points, play Valeera. That's the impression I've got.
If you want to play for combo points, Hal, get it right.
Same.
Man. So somebody posted a thread of just like clips from Rich's stream of Rich doing fun things. I actually haven't watched this yet.
But if you watch this clip, look at her burst damage that she provides on this Malf right now. Like, I mean, he didn't really do that much burst damage, but she has amazing stick potential. Also, she has extreme survivability just because
Stealth.
If you take smoke bomb, you can like wait for your stealth cooldown to come up, and it's not that big of a deal. There's one way to talk about Valeera, which is kind of the way you talk about Illidan. When he was in meta, it was like, you're not getting away from Illidan. If you're running away from Illidan 1v1, you're not going to get away. Same thing with Valeera. You're not going to get away with her away from her unless you have this massive gap closer to like just book it.
Let's watch one more. This is a 5v2 situation. Bloodlust
This is my first time
even gets
seeing this,
cast. Wait, he's just kind of in the middle of the fight.
Well, he threw it down his smoke bomb, so
Yeah.
they can't even like see him, and so he has free range over them, mostly because you can't reveal her while she's in her smoke bomb, and also you can still use all your abilities while in smoke bomb.
Yeah.
Smoke bomb is literally basically just a pseudo invulnerability unless you have AoE spells to throw at them.
Right.
It does show, like if you're playing Tassadar or something and you throw a Side Storm in the middle of the smoke bomb, you can kind of track where she is with the unrevealable text comes up.
Yeah.
So you can kind of track where she is. Very, very difficult to do, like to track it properly, but you can do it a little bit.
Wait, a banner shows up overhead saying unrevealable, and you're supposed to
Yeah, it's a little text keeps going unrevealable, so you can follow the text, and there she is.
That defeats the point. Like, I know exactly where you're at, lady. Like,
I mean, maybe it's unintentional, and Blizzard will fix that, but I mean, it tells you the stasis of every character whenever they're like unstoppable or unrevealable or whatever. So maybe they'll fix it just for Valeera.
that'd be pretty. I think they should change that personally.
I would agree, but it is what it is. Sorry for the lag if everyone. My computer like hit the lag if life, and you guys sounded like robots on my end. But okay, well,
Nice.
Yeah, she seems like a cool hero. Obviously, we can only speculate so much. It's interesting to think that your team already is discussing her as like a meta pick. Do you think she's first pick potential Shot?
I think she can be. However, I think there are going to be compositions that you can just draft that make her completely worthless. But I do think that she's strong enough to be a first pick. Obviously, when we're doing PTR scrims and stuff, we just first pick her just because we want to play her and we want to see where she's strong.
That makes sense.
But the little bit that we have scrimmed, we would first pick her, and we would do so well with her that the enemy team would just first ban her the next game. So it would be to the point where I think for the little amount that I have played with her, she's going to be first pick worthy. However, it's going to be map dependent and composition and playstyle dependent.
Cool. Well, I mean, obviously, we're excited to see where she goes. Still very early to make a lot of assumptions and talk about her too much. So we're going to move on.
Well, I do have one more thing to say about
Sure.
her, actually.
Yep.
I think she's going to be a Hero League stomper. I think she's going to be the character that you can carry with in Hero League, just like how when Zeratul was basically broken and first pick, first ban back in the day. she's going to be like the new Zeratul, and you just pick her first pick and just like dominate anybody in Hero League because they're not coordinated enough to deal with you.
I would 100% agree with that. I mean, it seems like the best way to shut Valeera down is a high amount of coordination. You get her outside of the smoke bomb, you stun her, you lock her down, you blow her up. You stop her from pressing buttons, and that doesn't really happen too often in Hero League.
The interesting thing with her, though, is like all the other heroes like Zeratul tend to suffer from that, but they can't return that as well. With Valeera, if you put her in a roam party, she's able to contribute to that stun, to that lockdown. So even just putting her in with one other, bruiser that's going to throw out a stun with her, that's scary.
I think in her current iteration, she's going to be banned at least 80% of the time.
80? Wow.
I mean,
if Samuro is any indication of how much she'll be banned more than Samuro probably.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
so I wouldn't get too used to using her in here.
Zarya might be good against her. This. I think Expulsion Zone's the size of Smoke Bomb, so you might be able to just Expulsion Zone her out.
Lol.
The ult to anti-ult. Well, yeah, I could see Zarya being a decent character.
I don't know. Just throwing out ideas.
Regardless, really fun kit. Seems like a cool hero. And, a lot of people were pretty upset that this is yet another Warcraft assassin. Blizzard actually put out a official response, basically, to the fact that they've released so many Warcraft heroes and the fact that they've released several Warcraft assassins like... for example, we just got Zul'jin in the last patch, and soon before that was Ragnaros right after BlizzCon. Mm-hmm. So they kind of just said this is how it happened. They weren't looking at it from the standpoint of these are all Warcraft heroes. They were looking at it from the standpoint of, we've got a multi-class hero. We've got a bruiser with heavy map implications, sustained range damage, and then an enemy carry disabler. Like, that's how they categorize these heroes. And I think that was cool of them to respond. I think it's such a unique problem for Heroes of the Storm to have, all these different universes to satisfy. You've got these communities that are like, it's so arbitrary, right? Like the fact that they're all Warcraft.
No, it doesn't
heroes.
matter whatsoever.
Right.
It's just like the fandom is getting upset, which is fine. I understand the complaints. However, I believe I talked to somebody. They said that they work on the characters conceptually before they choose a character to put within that kit. Like, they come up with the kit and be like, all right, which character from our universes will be good fit for this type of kit? And then they come up that way.
That's cool.
I talked to someone who said that. I don't want to say that's fact because it might not be 100% true.
Well, I think they have I think the way the heroes are built, there's small groups of teams that build a hero. So there could be several heroes built at a time. So the process might not always be the same. I have no clue, but that seems logical to me, right?
There are definitely different leads on different characters.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting for me because I probably know the least about most of the Blizzard lore. Like, I never really played World of Warcraft. I know a little bit about StarCraft. Most I know is pretty much Diablo. So when a new hero comes out from Warcraft, I'm just like, that's a cool hero, but I don't have that nostalgia or sense of lore understanding to where I'm like, man, I really want this specific universe to be more represented. I'm just like, I just think that character's cool. So I guess I just see it from a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different, right? I'm a huge Blizzard fan. I've played their games my whole life, but even then, I don't care what universe we're getting a hero from. I'm hyped about anyone. I just want good diversity. I'm like, why don't we have? Shotty's got.
Mama Shot wants to say hi.
Hi guys.
Shut up. All right.
Hi guys.
She's gotta go.
Have fun. But
all right, sorry.
That's fine. I was gonna say, I just kind of feel like we've got 10 supports in the game, right? We've got 18 assassins or whatever it is. It's just that's where I feel there could be some more additions put in. But I'm not going to complain. We're getting here every 3 to 4 weeks, which is awesome. Chat is loving the Mama Shot. All right, I'm going to scroll down here in the patch notes. Let's continue on. We are going to get to the sandbox mode soon, and actually. I now realize I don't remember checking the observer mode. They changed the base view of observer mode. I don't think I've tested that myself yet, so I'm curious what that looks like. Typically, when you are watching an esports tournament, the point of view you're watching is actually zoomed out. The default zoom is pretty close, so everyone that observes the tournament, casters, observer, whatever, they hit Z and they go to a wider field of view. But I haven't looked at the new default yet to actually compare that and see what that looks like. But down to the balance changes, Lunara did in fact get a change on Starward Spear just to show the indicator, and Varian got an upgrade at level 1. So we're not going to talk about Lunara because that's literally just like an indicator, but Varian has this new functionality on Overpower where when you can basically get multiple triggers of Overpower when you parry. And I guess that it also makes they're trying to make heroic strike builds a thing, is the goal?
Yeah, well, actually, I don't think it's that bad as just a level 1 talent. Instead of the stacking talents, this is actually another option now. It provides more damage if you can get off the overpower and get the consistent procs. Like if you pick Varian against Tychus or something, you can be heroic striking, which is now more damage because of this talent, over and over and over again on somebody, and that's a lot of damage that you can put out just with that one talent.
I would definitely agree with that. I mean, it seems like when you look at heroes like Valeera that come in, they're trying to increase possibilities for high-level mechanical play, and I personally love that. So someone that can time the parry properly to be able to get multiple heroic strikes in, they're going to be able to do a lot more work than like the average player. So that kind of star potential and ability to have a heavy influence, I like seeing stuff like that.
It definitely gives kind of more versatility to the level 1. Right now, it's like if you're tank, you're going Lion's Maw. If you're Colossus Smash or Twin Blades, heaven forbid. If you're one of those two, you're going High King's Quest. It doesn't really matter which level 1 you take. It's just kind of playstyle dependent. But this new level 1 gives you a chance to experiment with different playstyles and see how the level 1 fits in a tank build or how it fits in a damage build, and just see if it is better for different situations. And it just adds more flexibility to the character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting in the event that they do players to experiment with shield wall for like a melee 1v1 scenario. If you're popping shield wall, you're negating all damage and then outputting a lot more damage too. So it could make him fit the just kind of like an auto attack brawler a bit better. But we'll see. Cool to see a little bit love put towards that talent, as I don't think anyone was grabbing at the level 1. So should see more diversity with the hero in general. Down to Lily. Elusive Feet now displays a button on a hotbar. Nice. And Shake It Off also displays a button. Esports.
Nice. Super sick buffs. There they are. Lily is now super viable, fam.
She's back, baby. This is it. This is our time.
The struggle. Tassadar, however, is indeed a Rooney back. Not like he was ever gone, right? Tassadar has been in the meta always and forever, but this is the true rework that is going to give him some kind of build diversity. For the longest time, Tassadar has had a single build, and now that is changing as they've given him a quite monstrous rework. So just let's talk about his basic attack change. No longer the little pulses of Protoss poo. I don't know what he throws. Plasma.
Protoss poo. All right.
He's got the channel baseline with 20% slow at all times as part of his kit, and it doesn't seem like he's doing much damage with his auto, but it's really about the utility of the slow, and that seems very supporty. I think that's cool. How do you guys feel about it? Start with you, Halorin.
I like the idea behind it. I feel like you pretty much have to take the quest at level 1 to extend the reach of your auto attack, because you're hard committing to standing there in one spot to get the kind of value that I think a team overall would want. And that's a liability with some of the other changes that they've added to his kit. So I would be concerned standing there like, look guys, I'm slowing this person down. Oh wait, everybody's jumping on my face. I'm dead.
And E is a longer cooldown now too.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have those escape options like prescience and stuff. So you're definitely running a risk standing there trying to maximize value off of the slow.
Shot?
I personally disagree with Hal on the level 1, but I mean that's just my playstyle. As a Tassadar only player in every single competitive team that I've ever played on,
Tassadar one trick confirmed.
Tassadar one trick confirmed. I actually like the globe talent a lot at level 1, which is once you collect 20 globes, you get what is now currently Kala's Embrace, where you retain half the shields after it expires. However, when you get 40 globes, you get a full entire shield forever until it breaks, which is insane in my opinion. Full shields for an entire team is pretty crazy. Yes, your shield has a longer cooldown, but if you can get those full shields completely on everybody, I think it's completely bonkers. Actually, I think that the auto attack talent is viable, and it'll be better for players that are less conservative with their play style and more aggressive, just because like they're not focusing on defending themselves and getting out of situations. They're just like, I'm standing here, I'm slowing you, deal with it, I hope I don't die. Like, that talent's way better for those types of players, which is not a bad playstyle. Like, if you can make it work, it works. But if you want to be more of an in and out and like slow when exactly needed, I think the globe talent is more important. And if you need like massive more amount of damage, then you can get the storm talent, which increases your damage by 25%, I think.
It's cool though, because like these actually seem like they would fit in various scenarios. Like you think about the Kadarian Resonance, which is the globe talent. That's kind of a necessity when it comes to those auto attack heroes that make Tassadar prominent in the meta. So Tasvala, very common pairing. She needs that permanent shield for the leeching plasma to constantly be proccing to provide her the huge pressure and presence she can have. You give her a full shield on top of that and let her go to town and do her worst. Well, that's going to be scary, and that's going to be that style of Tassadar. However, in a situation where Tassadar might need a little bit more control, I could see some more merit towards that auto attack style, the additional range, because 40% range on that, slow, which can be brought up to, I think baseline can be 30, and I believe in Archon form 40% slow. Like that's pretty good. Like if he becomes like they've made Archon viable, I think, with some of these new talents.
Sure.
I think Archon's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Archon.
Now. It reminds me of the old Tassadar days where you'd go like static charge and like go in and storm someone with Archon and just start
Double
bashing
storm,
on them.
Yes, Tassadar.
Yeah, Tassadar used to be a DPS. You forget.
He did.
I know.
One of the best ranged assassins in the game once upon a time, actually. So
when I was a one trick.
Yeah, I mean, Shot, you made some really good points about that talent. It adjusts my opinion to a degree. I think it's more map dependent.
Oh, I
If
agree.
it's a map that's like, the cadence is like every now and again there's going to be this huge team fight, then you have time to stack those shields up on your team. But on something that's more ad hoc or where there aren't a lot of globes to gather, then I would still go for Templar as well. Because
I would agree.
40 region globes?
It's pretty insane. It's mostly used for bigger maps.
30 might be more realistic. 40 globes in a game, I don't think
but
that
they
happens too
want
often.
that to feel like a late game thing, and like they want you to have to struggle for that. Like I think that's kind of a cool thing that they haven't done a lot of.
It's scaling in the game.
Yeah, but like to get that full completion at 40 regeneration globes is like, that's a big deal. And when you hit that peak, like you're gonna be a big threat. But it also, some maps like Dragonshire where you can rotate and double up on globes and stuff like that. I think Tassadar will be even more prominent because of that.
Yep. I mean, we did it in scrims yesterday. We played on PTR, and I think we were rotating on Sky Temple, which is like unheard of, like mid bot on Sky Temple, just because we had Tassadar, and I think we completed the quest in like 12 minutes or something.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
pretty
impressive.
we had the way better rotation and like kill potential. So like they didn't want to mess with us, so they just kind of let us get globes.
Yeah, you think about things like Braxis that have globes in the map, and like.
Well, sorry, continue, Jake.
It's just like there are maps where I can see this being, you know, like a very attainable thing, and then I see situations where, like, if you're not participating in the merc camps, if you're not like getting extra globes and having really clean rotations, it could be tough. But I think that's a good thing. I like the idea of having talents that are hard to attain in this game, where when you do complete it, you are rewarded, you know, handsomely. It's a way of getting fed, right? Your hero hits a power spike, and that's a cool thing. And you're going to feel that power spike as Tassadar when you do get those 40 globes. You're going to be like, hell yeah, guys, I can do sweet shields, and they're going to live there forever. But, okay. Well, there's a lot of other talents, though. I mean, we talked about some of the options here. At level 1, level 4, they've got the, you can now increase the lifesteal up to an additional 20%. So like you think about that style we were talking about with Vala and Illidan, increasing the lifesteal, which is now baseline, is well, like that's quite scary. What do you guys think of the level 4 tier in general?
I think if you have like Illidan or Vala on your team, you go Kala's Embrace. If you're going against one of those auto attack style heroes, you take Kala's Light. Like 3 seconds of 25 armor.
That's a ton.
I think Kala's Light is insane value.
Like I think that's gonna get nerfed. I see that going down to like 15 armor.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna get nerfed to like 15% as well. I mean, it says percent in the game, I think. Or no, it says 25 armor.
It's 20. It's 25 armor.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Technically, you take the talent at level 1 where you can put even half shields on someone. Yep. You do that to your whole team, and then everybody's got 25% physical armor.
Mind you, that's when the shields expire, not when the shields are active for 3 seconds.
Still,
as well,
man,
it's shield the cast time is a little. It's 8 seconds now for the shield instead of 6. But
yeah,
so it's like it's still there, but I agree, it's a little insane.
It's still, if you can get like half shields, so you got half shields on your entire team. Anytime those shields break, they're gonna get resistance. Right. So it's pretty insane. You still have 5 resistances ready to go in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah.
That you don't even have to worry about.
And from the shrines, you stack shields on your team. Shrine phase shows up. Everybody shows up. Half shields. Someone gets focused down. Vala swings a wet noodle. Like she does no damage to anybody. Like I mean,
she still does damage, but yeah, I agree. It's pretty insane. 3 seconds is also a long time for resistance. In the sense of competitive play.
Can you think of any hero where the 25% movement speed would be meaningful? 8-second cooldown to provide 5 seconds of movement speed. So,
no.
Okay.
I can't think of anybody that would be worth it on. Maybe Dahaka, so he can catch someone, but other than that, like, that's even stretching it there. Like, I don't see anybody where that is better than the other 2 talents.
I mean, any hero that would really benefit from that would probably be auto attack focused, and I would submit to you that I'd rather just take an extra 20% than move faster.
Yeah,
I mean, technically you could shield Asmodan while he's lasering someone, and he'll move faster.
And then he just gets stunned, and the laser's done.
New shot deciphers the new meta.
Dude, I'm just telling you how to play the game correctly. You pick Asmodan, go laser build, take the speed on shield, boom, you're like a moving minigun. You're in there.
That's an ASU strat if I ever heard one.
ASU strat right there.
Someone, Cleos said, what about for escapes? Like, I see the idea behind it, but I think where they're going with Tassadar, you want to be more forward leaning. If you're worried about the escape, I don't think Tassadar is really looking for escape value these days. I think they just want to go in.
Yeah, he's less of a hit-and-run race car hero in general in terms of the way they've changed his kit. But Kala's Celerity, I'll be amused when I see it cast on me in Quick Match in Hero League. I'll be amused. I think that's
I'll be tilted.
As no task.
I'll be pissed. I'll be like, wait a minute.
Why am I moving faster? Okay. Now I'm wondering, does the movement speed go away if the shield breaks? Because then that's really bad.
Shield
It
breaks
is?
if the movement speed is gone. The movement speed goes away when the shield breaks.
Mm-mm.
Well, I
Nope.
mean, actually, oh, you mean for like the 5 seconds or whatever?
Right,
If it breaks
right.
4 or 5 seconds, I don't know. I haven't tested it.
Yeah,
I don't think it
movement speed goes
matters.
up to, like,
I
20
remember the
down.
speed talent on shield before at like 16 or something. When the
Yeah.
shield broke, the speed ended.
Yeah, I
So
remember
I'm
that.
not sure about this one.
I'd be curious to see that. I mean, either way, I don't see myself ever going college celerity.
Yeah.
But
I don't think any of us do, unfortunately. But it's cool to have options like that if you wanted to do something fun and try to maximize the movement speed on a hero. That's one ability that could help that hero move real fast. Down to level 7, we can take a look here. We can see that they actually move Deep Shift to tier 5, which is level 13. They have pretty much gutted a lot of his talents. So, I mean, this is the recurring theme of the rework. They remove all generic talents and all pretty much talents he already had, from Conjurer's Pursuit and everything at level 1 to now Mule and Static Charge and Call's Embrace at 7. But he's gained a few new talents, and it's scattered throughout the patch notes. So bear with as we go on an adventure to find the level 7 talents and where they are typed in here. Psionic
might be
Projection.
easy to just look through the game.
Oh, you're so smart. This is why
Yeah, 'cause
you're here.
I was like paging up and down trying to see where it went. I was like, I already have the PTR loaded up. Like, I'm just gonna look at this.
So, level 7 Psionic Projection, you have additional range on your shield and your Sidestorm. 40% additional range on both of his base kit abilities. Resonation, you have basically more damage when someone's caught underneath your Sidestorm. We'll talk about this in a moment. And then
It's more slow.
Oh, excuse
not damage.
me. Yeah, 40% slow, excuse me. And then Mental Acuity, each takedown earned lowers the cooldown of Oracle by 3 seconds. So you can just pop more Oracles. There's after 5 takedowns, you get additional sight range as well. So Psionic Projection baseline range for your Q and your W. Do you guys think this is going to be the standard, or is it not even needed?
I think it's going to be a mix-up between Psionic Projection and Mental Acuity.
Mhm.
Mental Acuity is really good when they have like a stealth character like Valeera. Reducing your Oracle's cooldown by 15 or 15 seconds is pretty good. However, when I was fiddling with him, I mostly took Psionic Projection because I saw more value out of that talent than I did with Mental Acuity for the most part, unless they have a stealth character. Then you have to decide which one you want more. I like shielding from really far away, especially if you have like Tastar with Illidan or Tastar with Tracer or Tastar with any carry that can get away from you. Like having the extra range on Q is super nice.
I would agree with that for the most part. I feel like Mental Acuity, the cooldown reduction, I more see that as an investment towards level 13. Like, I guess we'll talk about that when we get there. There's some really strong synergies between 7 and 13 if you go for Mental Acuity, I feel. But if I was going for like the added just basic attack range at 1, then Psionic Projection's like a no-brainer. You just get the added range. You can just hang out way in the back.
Yeah, the thing I do like about Mental Acuity though is like how easy it is to stack. Getting 5 takedowns in a game is not hard. You just have to be near a fight.
Yeah, it's just 2 team fights, easy.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good point there. I just want to play devil's advocate. I mean, is there any instance where going Archon and Resonation would be meaningful? Because having that additional control in the fight, locking the target down, I'm trying to think of a build like...
Well,
maybe you go Psi Infusion to have the additional radius on your Psi Storm at level 1.
I mean, if the slow stack, I guess you can get value out of that, but I just don't like the idea of standing that close to a team fight in a melee heavy meta when you have a 30-second cooldown on your E.
Yeah,
I just would be wary about standing that far forward for just an added slow.
I honestly think Resonation is not a good talent just because if you take Archon, you're slowing the target by 40% every auto anyway.
but then
So
you're literally an Earth Grasp Totem when you cast Psi Storm on them.
Does it stack?
I should.
Yeah.
I'm gonna test.
I don't know
I'm
if
gonna
it
test
stacks
it
or
right
not.
now.
If it doesn't stack, it's not worth it. If it does stack, situationally, really situationally, I still think it's the worst talent on this tier.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like
if
you're
it
going up against, like,
stacks,
a
it has some
Diablo,
situational value. like Diablo variant, like those tanks that can't get away once they're in.
Okay.
Are you testing it, Jake?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Resonation.
Mad scientist.
Okay. Let's pop Archon. So there's the slow.
Okay.
Run away.
Make him run away.
Where's the...
All right, there we go.
He's like dead though.
As he casually strolls away. I mean, I don't know. I just...
All right, maybe someone in the chat just knows.
You can potentially get value out of that.
It didn't look like it.
I think it would be far easier to get influential value out of sonic projection or mental acuity.
40% slow has no duration though.
I feel like if you're going resonation, your best bet would be to take force wall.
That doesn't look like it stacks.
No,
Jake.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
However, someone did point out in chat, the 40% slow on resonation doesn't wear off until it has no duration, basically.
So that's a permanent, like, little zoning thing.
Well, it means as long as your distortion beam is on it, it means that they get slowed by 40%. However, you don't have distortion beam technically when you're an Archon. So it's just confusing how it's written, and so further testing is needed. I'm sorry, team.
Even in the most ideal scenario, though, I see that being a situational thing.
Yeah.
Like, even if it all stacked in the way that we're theorizing to be the best case scenario, it's hard to say no to mental acuity.
It really is.
That I like psionic projection as the standard. But yeah, mental acuity is still good. But that's what I think on the 7 tier. Someone asked me, like, what do you think of the Oracle talents on 7 and 13, like the combination? I don't think it's necessarily worth it, but we'll get to that when we get to 13.
Let's progress to the changes to his heroic abilities. So Archon, we were just looking at it. I think I'm on the wrong scene here. The damage has gone up significantly from 111 to 175. Duration has been reduced down to 10 seconds, but I mean, for the damage gain, obviously a buff in the end. Your basic attack slow 40%. Every time you hit with the auto attack, it's 1 second slow. You passively refresh your dimensional shift, so effectively it's a 30-second cooldown for dimensional shift now, but you can D-shift in, pop Archon, then have D-shift ready again, which is cool. And then you also do get a Q cast on you when you pop Archon. So before, Archon had like its own little shield, but now it's just a standard Q, like a baseline Q when you cast Archon. On the side of Force Wall, range has gone up to 10, and passively his default slow on his auto attack goes from 20% to 30%. So let's talk about Archon. Is this like Bloodlust Archon new meta confirmed? New old meta?
Pretty good, actually. I like Archon a lot, and the level 20 makes it so much value. When we get to level 20, it's literally the most insane talent in the game, in my opinion. But I think Archon's way better now. You no longer tickle while you're an Archon. I think Bloodlust Archon is a thing that is pretty good and super valuable because you can just shield yourself. You get the lifesteal from Bloodlust and the lifesteal from your shield. Also, you can shield anybody else, and they get the double lifesteal. I think Archon's super good. Force Wall got buffed, but I think Archon is better for the general use of it. Like, if there's an ult that I want to take more, it'll be Archon, but I still will pick Force Wall sometimes.
I think we'll see a pretty even balance between Force Wall and Archon. Archon, I would imagine you would have an easier time getting overall value out of that. Like, it's the ultimate judo move. Like, if you're going up against like a burst style of composition, you step out there, you hit E right as it's about to hit you, then pop Archon, you have E again. Like, you just negated a bunch of their damage, and now you're hitting like a truck and you're throwing shields on people. Like, that's impactful. But we've seen at all levels of play, like the right timed Force Wall.
Yep.
That's brutal to deal with. So when you add the increased range into the consideration, because it now you can, I think it's like
cooldown.
2 parts out long. I know it's longer now. It has a longer range.
Yeah.
So the people who have been landing like crazy force walls now, having that added flexibility, like that's gonna be tough to deal with.
Oh, it doesn't give you decreased cooldown. Never mind.
Yeah, it's
But it does increase your auto attack slow.
Yeah.
which is good. And you're still talking
nice
about
little-
weighing the balance between a lot of control in a fight on a short cooldown being 12 seconds, or having that big team fight potential on that 100-second cooldown. And obviously, 100 seconds, you're not necessarily going to be ready for every fight with your ult. So there's pros and cons, but I think you guys both said you'll see both worked into the meta, and I would agree 100% on that.
I want more ults like that are both situationally
We all
good.
do.
I don't like the characters that come out with these ults and then it's okay, well that one's completely worthless and this one's the good one.
Yeah, I think they've struck a really good balance here. If Archon was 90 seconds, then it'd probably be Archon a lot more often. Or 80? Good lord. You'd see Archon all the time. But 100 means you really have to make a lot of use out of it in those moments. But you can make a lot of use out of it if you play it right. So I like that.
Well, let's move down to level 13. Shot was mentioning some things earlier. We have 3 talents here. We have Deep Shift. You increase the dimensional shift's duration and movement speed by 50%. Adune's Wisdom. While you have Oracle active, your basic cooldowns are reduced by 50%. So this is kind of like a weird take on Icy Veins that Jaina has, where you can spam more abilities, but also you're revealing your opponents. And the Nullification, it's kind of like a modified version of Shrink Ray, which was removed, but instead of actually slowing the target does 75% less damage for 3 seconds. He already has tons of slows built into his kit. I think this is a really cool talent. Deep Shift, Race Car Tassadar, is it still a thing, Shot?
Feels bad. No, it's not a thing. Mostly just because you don't have Prescience as well as Dimensional Warp, which healed you with Race Car Tassadar. Deep Shift might be taken sometimes, but if you are playing Tassadar at a high level, you shouldn't be in a position where you need that extra 50% duration and movement speed. You should be in a spot where you can get out by yourself without really needing your team's help. And if you die on Tassadar, he's a lot more vulnerable now. But if you die on Tassadar, that is your own fault. It is not your team's fault. And it is not your talent's fault. You have the tools in order to keep yourself alive without this talent. And I think it's a good talent. It's decent. I just think the other 2 are far better. That's basically been my story for this entire show. But I honestly think that Deep Shift is lesser than those 2. The other 2.
Halorin, we know that they increased the cooldown from 20 to 30 seconds, but they also gave us the ability to cancel the dimensional shift and pop out and be ready to fight again during that duration. Is that change impactful to make Deep Shift worth considering for aggro Archon plays or something weird?
All right, perhaps.
I think if you're using E at all in an offensive manner, to cancel it early and be haha, you did no damage to me, you're probably ahead enough in the game to where it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're going up against an even team, I think that'd be too cheeky a gamble. Deep Shift is a very self-serving idea, and that you're offering no value to the team other than saying I didn't get myself killed right now. You compare Deep Shift to Adune's Wisdom or Nullification, I just don't see how you take Deep Shift.
Well, you also, if you're using Deep Shift to be aggressive, a lot of people, when they see Tassadar pop E, they go, Tassa has no E, and then they focus him really hard.
But Archon gives you E.
True, you're not wrong.
But I mean, then you're gambling an offensive parry pretty much on a 30 and 100-second cooldown.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's too situational.
Well, I can dream that I'll see somebody do that. Will it be a common
No,
thing?
I'm
Absolutely
sure
not.
someone will do it just to please you, Jake.
Yes. Okay, down to a Doom.
Saw how well Bloodlust went, and Blizzard buffed it just to please you. It was all for you.
I like to believe that. Adune's Wisdom, while Oracle is active, this is the one where you get the 50% cooldown reduction. You're talking about the possible synergy with the level 7 talent here, Mental Acuity. What are your thoughts on that, Shot?
With the level 7 talent is the only way that this talent is even viable. Without mental acuity, you cannot take Adun's Wisdom because Oracle has too high of a cooldown without mental acuity for this to be even worth it at all. So if you have mental acuity, you can consider it. I think nullification is just so good. 75% reduced damage is amazing that I cannot pass it up in any way, shape, or form. However, Adun's Wisdom, I can see an argument if you take mental acuity. But without mental acuity, please do not take that talent.
See, I would have to disagree with Shot to an extent. Like I said before, the synergy between 7 and 13 is obvious and apparent, I feel. But even if you don't take mental acuity at 7, Adun's Wisdom is effectively a level 13 benediction that allows you to see.
That's true.
Benediction's stronger than reduced cooldown by 50%, or they come back 50% faster.
Is it?
Yeah, Benediction's like...
It's basically double cast on anything he has.
Yeah, it's basically double cast every ability that you have, as opposed to 50% reduced cooldown on Task Star, which is, for Shield, it'd be a 4-second cooldown, 4-second cooldown on Storm.
It's different though because
15-second on Dimensional.
Adun's Wisdom is his whole kit. Benediction's one spell, so they're a little bit weird to compare. I think this is closer to something like Icy Veins on Jaina, just because it's because you're able to rapid fire Psystorm. So if you're going on the double casted Psystorm and you have 4-second cooldown on your shield, right? You can throw it 2 shields. That's impactful. If you're able to keep shielding rapidly, if you're able to keep Psystorming rapidly, that's meaningful. And if you're getting kills during that, you're not quite getting resets with mental acuity, but it's helping you drive towards being able to do that again. There's very few situations where that's going to matter, where you're going to want to recast it, in my opinion. But see, I feel if mental acuity granted you like an increased duration on Oracle, then that would be like a must have in this combo.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, but like I still see some promise in Adun's Wisdom standalone.
Yeah, Hard and Focus would be a more... I'm looking in the chat. Hard and Focus would be a more direct comparison.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about it. So at 4, if you take Kala's Light, at 7 you take Mental Acuity, and then at 13 you take Adun's Wisdom.
It's easier to stack shields.
You're kicking out so many shields and physical armor that
that's
almost
support.
like solo support Tassadar levels. Like
that's what I feel like, honestly. Like obviously you're reliant on having that D for that fight, right? You go into like Oprah Winfrey mode and you give everyone their shield, right? You get a shield, but like that's like you're going to feel like an actual support in those moments, and I think that's cool. I'm actually like but at the same time, nullification, you see a Zeratul on your backline, you shut that Zeratul up. You're like, you actually do no damage right now, go away. So there's a lot of, I think you could still fulfill that support role with something like nullification, but that's a 1-minute cooldown.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going up against a composition that's like, our whole success lives and dies on the merits of this one damage dealer, nullification is like the obvious choice. Anytime they jump in, it's just like, well, now you don't do any damage, so
GG.
Right, like, guess we just win now.
Or if your comp is like a focus fire comp, and you're like, oh, we CC this one target and kill him really fast, Tassadar can just walk up and nullify their ranged assassin or whatever while you're killing this person, so that she or he, whatever the character is, does not do damage to you while you are blowing up that tank or that melee assassin or whatever you're attacking.
I see that abilities or that talent's cooldown going up to 70 seconds.
I agree. I think it's too strong for a 60-second cooldown.
It's better than Shrink Ray, that's for sure. You can't.
It's better than Shrink Ray because you don't lose your slows because you're Tassadar.
Right. You just have all the slows built in, and I don't know. It's cool. It's I like that talent a lot. I think there's a lot of merit there. Honestly, I think this tier is just going to be really fun to see what becomes more prominent between Adun's Wisdom and Nullification. I think both are have a lot of impact behind them. But I guess we will see. Let's move down to level 16, where we have Phase Disruption, where Sidestorm becomes Hunter's Mark.
I like that talent. I like that talent a lot.
It's not even first hero it hits; it's enemy heroes. So it's I actually. Well, let's mention the other two before we dive in on one. Sonic Echo, where you have a 1.5 second window to cast a second Sidestorm, and then Focused Beam. Your Oracle increases ability damage. So this is like the Giant Killer-esque, where it's just more damage per health while Oracle is active. So this talent at level 16 completely reliant on mental acuity, because you're going to want to be able to spam out that second one 15 seconds into the fight or whatever. But even then, it's not increased duration, which brings question to it. Let's talk about Phase Disruption.
Phase Disruption, one of the most obvious choices on this tier. Giving a vulnerability for 25% is pretty insane in an AoE, just like Dahaka's, except Dahaka's is 15%.
Right.
This is 25% full vulnerability, like Tyrande Mark. It's pretty insane, especially if you're CCing someone and Tesla just throws a storm on them. Wow, they're marked. We can kill them way easier now. I think it's a great talent. And it's just going to be... It says they take more from basic attacks, though. It's not
it's physical
spell.
It's physical armor.
It's not spell.
Still,
yeah, only physical armor.
Oftentimes, Tassadar will be paired with the Vala, with the Illidan, those type of heroes anyways.
Yeah, if you have an auto attack damage dealer of any sort on your team, I feel like they'd be mad if you didn't take Phase Disruption. Like it's just too good at what it does, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, I want to make claims for some of the other talents in this tier, like Psionic Echo. I think if you're going the additional radius and you're going the slow on it, maybe there's a realm in which you try to go for Psionic Echo, but Phase Disruption just seems like it would be better in 95% of the situations.
Psionic Echo, the Psystorms still don't stack.
You have to spread them out.
They never have. Yeah, you still have to spread them out, and they don't do double damage if you throw them right on top of each other.
Right. But it's good
if they did double damage, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Oh, but yeah.
I think if you take Psi Fusion at 1, Sonic Echo could get some work done for you.
Yeah,
as far as zoning goes, because then it does more damage and it has a wider radius. So you can zone people out a lot easier if your team has a bunch of lockdown and you can reliably keep someone in a spot to eat a bunch of damage.
Yep.
Then I can see value there.
Could be interesting for Infernal Shrines as well, when you're looking for those last hits, additional radius, 2 casts of the Sidestorm on Shrines, to get the last hit on the objective. That's a lot of presence, just basically covering probably a third of the pit.
True.
Yeah, I think if you're going for a mage comp, Sonic Echo will probably net you more value overall, even without Sign Fusion. But if you have a Vala or a Tychus or something like that, Phase Disruption seems pretty hard to pass up.
So I guess once again, playing devil's advocate, we're going full on Archon build. We're against a pretty heavy front line, multiple bruisers, and Uncle Leoric is going to be my battle target. I'm going to be fighting a lot of Leoric, a lot of Dahaka, whatever heroes that can't just run away. Would I ever want to go Focus Beam and just basically channel Archon autos and melt through those tanks? Would that be a meaningful thing?
I've been struggling with this ability or talent. I can't decide if it does enough damage or not. I think the only tank it's actually viable against is Diablo, just because he has the highest health pool, period, the end. If he has souls, he has the highest health pool. I think it's only super good against Diablo. I'm still testing it more and more against other tanks. I just don't feel the impact of it enough unless I'm against a Diablo.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the numbers are and how it ultimately feels, because on paper, the basic attacks now attack 400% faster. So is that saying every tick of the distortion beam is going to take 1%?
Yes.
That could do some work. I would be curious to see how it felt, how it worked in action. But I would agree with that. Diablo probably, or any frontliner that doesn't have any escape, like Arthas or something like that.
Varian, Arthas, Diablo, yeah.
In those situations, I see you doing work for sure.
I would like to see it buffed a little bit to 1.5% maybe,
Yeah.
maybe that will help it more. But I think 2% is too far and 1% is too little.
Fair enough.
So I would like to see 1.5% first, and then see if it's impactful enough. If it's still not impactful, bump it to 2%. But it's just me talking about Tassadar because he's my bae.
Well, how many attacks per second does Tassadar get now?
Oh,
I'm gonna see if I can go into try mode and see.
Many.
Because if each one of those does a percent of the person's max health, I'd be curious to see how that plays. I'm gonna load it and try to find out.
It's 20%. It's 20% of a hero's health over 5 seconds. Says chat. And then everybody is spamming 4% damage per second.
I think 1.5 would be more justifiable than I'd agree with that.
Well, let's talk.
I just didn't know what the numbers were.
Let's talk about level 20. The options.
Archon.
The options here: Twilight Archon.
If you take Archon on 10, take Twilight Archon always. Okay, sorry.
You kind of have to, right? Just because you can basically keep that Archon up forever, and it's not hard to do. It's probably easier than even maintaining Wrath and Sonya. Additional range of Force Barrier, reduced cooldown, so 6 seconds on your Force Wall. Prismatic Link, a new one here, which is effectively you have a bouncing laser, which I think is hilarious because I selected it here. I'm going to show it to you. And then Shield Battery, you get the baseline Tash Shield in everyone. So it's why can I not think of it? Storm Shield. It's not Storm Shield, but it's a Tassadar specific Storm Shield, which is cool, I guess. But look at my laser beam. Meh. This is such a stupid I mean, it's cool thematically. It looks so funny to me for some reason. It just amuses me infinitely. And does it bounce when I'm? Yeah, it does. Nice. Esports.
However, you should never take it if you're going Archon. Just because you can keep Twilight Archon up for literally the entire duration of your cooldown, and then if you accidentally drop it, just pop it again. You have Archon again. Psionic or Prismatic Link, I don't think we'll see very much play, just because the entire purpose of it is for slows. To slow multiple people that are clumped together, and I don't think it's going to get tons of play. Why are you Tassadar without Archon?
That was very confusing.
And you are shooting lightning bolts. What the heck?
Today I learned that if you press Archon in try mode as Archon is expiring, Tassadar just gets big.
Shield Battery, I think is better than Prismatic Link. I don't think it's super good, and the only time you would ever take it is if you're Force Wall. But Force Barrier is pretty good. 6 second reduction of cooldown and increased range by 100%. I did it. If you have your screen centered, it is further than the rightmost part and leftmost part and top and bot. It goes past your screen for the cast. Just a little bit, but it goes past your screen.
All right, I'm going to try it here.
Like, you're just like doing a siege camp in Dragonshire, and from off screen as Force Wall shows up.
So you have to move your screen to get full range. Sorry, Hal.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, so if you're doing siege camp, what, Hal?
Like, and there's a Tassadar on the other team, and some Force Wall shows up from off. Like, you don't see Tassadar at all, and then this Force Wall just shows up. That's pretty crazy.
You can also use it. You can use it to scout too. Throw it at a camp.
6 second cooldown.
Oh wow, yeah. I didn't even think about that. Like Tassadar could be at his fort wall and throw his force wall to the other end over the shrine on Dragonshire.
Yeah,
that's actually nuts.
I see some very creative use out of that.
Yeah,
I think if you're going force wall, that's the talent you're going to take, just because how ridiculous it is and how much viability it can get. However, there are some arguments for the shield battery. If you have a lot of auto attackers or you need the more shields, like if you ever needed Storm Shield as Tassadar instead of Rewind, it's like the same situation. You would go shield battery if you needed a Storm Shield.
Yeah, I think it'd be tough to get value out of Prismatic Link at level 20. Like,
I would never.
I don't see that ever getting used.
I can't
feel like shield
justify it.
battery.
But think about Merking at level 20. He'd be so efficient.
Merking, he does
What?
10 damage per auto attack,
Right,
Jake.
like, and at level 20, if you need added wave clear or anything like that at level 20, something's going wrong. Like, it just shouldn't be necessary.
If you need more wave clear, go take the double storm talent. That's 16. You're not taking
You can
prismatic
solve other
link.
problems. Yeah. I just feel like shield battery is in a weird place because it's not a bad talent by any stretch of the imagination, but if you go either heroic, it's kind of hard to go wrong by upgrading them at 20. So,
Well, let's progress beyond Tassadar. I think overall we can agree that Tassadar is a better hero with more viability and more flexibility.
He's a different hero with different viability, in my opinion. He was super good his old iteration just because he was literally unkillable. You could not kill a Tassadar in competitive play. If you did kill the Tassadar, that Tassadar was doing something wrong. Well, post 16 anyway.
Mhm.
But this Tassadar is a lot more vulnerable, a lot more killable, and a lot more skill-oriented, in my
Scalable.
opinion.
I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
He has a higher skill ceiling.
For sure.
He's a sidestep with a higher skill ceiling.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing different styles with him. I'm looking forward to cool Archon plays. Obviously, like if you can see somebody manage a Twilight Archon and keep it up for a long time, that'll be really fun. And then, of course, that ridiculous Force Wall range brings all kinds of unique things to the table. Going to be fun to see where he goes in the competitive scene. Rexar also got some love in this patch. Misha, default, has more movement speed when she is on the order to attack. So it's up to 115 movement speed. So she books at you. You see that bear coming, and you back up.
That was actually noticeable when I was playing on PTR.
Yeah, no, she's quick.
Yeah, I can see that.
They also reworked. So when Misha was first, or when Rexar was first a hero,
No, you were right.
when Misha was first introduced to the game, Rexar couldn't tell her where to go by pressing 1. She could only, go back to her master for snacks, and then she would go kill shit again. But now they've reworked that, so the trait on Rexar is everything. It's you micro with D. There's no 1. If you have a 1, it's probably Flare, which got a lot of love in this patch. Flare is actually 30-second cooldown now, but it lasts 20 seconds. So, like, he in a lot of ways, he's got this great utility of being able to scout with Misha and control space with Flare for vision. It's got a huge uptime, 20 out of 30 seconds for that, and that's anti-stealth in some ways too, right? You can really protect your backline. Beyond that, they moved some of his sustain talents like Hunter-Gatherer to level 4. They also moved Grizzle Bear to level 4, but it has new functionality where it gives Rexar and Misha block charges. So looking at his level 1, you're looking at a nerfed Bird of Prey. You're looking at Flare with a ton of uptime, and I guess I'll have to load it in-game. I think there's one more thing.
I'm
Easy
going
Prey?
to go look at that now.
Easy Prey went to level 1, which is huge because they made all of the insta-kill wave clear talents at level 1, so you can't have all of them. You have to choose one. So he can't be like soloing bosses anymore.
Yeah, that's a good
Stuff
thing.
like that.
I'd agree with that.
So you have to choose your path, right? You go Easy Prey, that's a little bit more about merking. You go Bird of Prey, that's all about lane clear. You're choosing one of the other functionalities on this hero, and then Flare is going to give you the vision, and that's a ton of vision. So level 1, like each of those things massively improves his capability at various things. If there's a stealthy, Flare is going to be great. Otherwise, on some maps you're gonna want to try to sneak boss. You'll go Easy Prey. On other maps, you just want to be able to rotate quickly, or you're on Braxis holdout and you need a lane clear. You go Bird of Prey. So I think this is a nice level 1.
I'm actually super interested as to how the matchup between Dahaka and Rexar is going to go on Braxis now.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Shot.
Just because you can take Easy Prey at level 1, which is the wave clear that he did not have against Dahaka. Once you got level 7 and Easy Prey was acquired, it became more of a doable matchup. Like, you kind of dominated at that point, because you could wave clear, sit Misha on the point, and you could just like win. So now I want to see how good is this level 1 easy prey, or sorry, bird of prey rather, against Dahaka in lane, and will he be able to beat Dahaka now in lane from the get-go?
Shout out to the train, or car, whatever that was. But see, yeah, it's interesting because they nerfed it a little bit, but when you consider it's level 1 now, it's such a massive buff. And I hadn't thought about those kind of situations, just the level 1 solo lane scenario. That's really cool. That's really good for him.
Yeah, it's super situational. I think you'll probably get the most value in general out of easy prey, but depending on the map, like Flare on Garden of Terror, or like Haunted Mines, being able to see where someone's coming. Like 20 seconds, you can clear out an entire tier on your own, or like the boss in Haunted Mines. Like, I just see you get people getting a lot of value out of that.
I mean, that's the safe play, but then you go easy prey, and then you're doing it that much more quickly, that much more efficiently with Misha, just doing more damage, taking less damage from those minions, mercenaries. It doesn't say monsters, but I'm pretty sure it works on monsters, because technically the sappers and the skeletons, and they're labeled as monsters. There's minions, mercenaries, and monsters, which are the objectives. But
I don't know if it works on monsters.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't know either, but that's an interesting thing to consider when it comes to picking easy prey for those situations. Down to level 4. Go ahead.
To be fair, Rexar is only really viable on Braxis, and there's no monsters on that map. Well, there's Zerg. They're considered monsters.
I'm curious what these changes do to Rexar as a whole, though, because I feel like Rexar has always been on the cusp of viability in more situations, and I think the movement speed on Misha alone is enough to give more threat to the hero, just because of the way that Misha can be used for much more successful, much easier setups for that stun. Misha's always just kind of been part of the kit, but now Misha's going to be you see an ETC, you back up at the threat of power slide. Misha charge is going to have that same kind of presence, I feel, with the change to movement speed and some of the other talents. But let's read through level 4 quick. Hungry Bear, you just get her autos healing Misha. Hunter Gatherer used to be level 1, now level 4. I think they changed it a little bit, but overall it's the same deal. Grizzled Fortitude used to give blocks charges to Misha, but now Misha and Rexar both get block charges. And then Animal Husbandry. Rexar and Misha gain 2 maximum health every second that Rexar stays alive. This, I don't know if this has a peak. If
it doesn't, I think that's insane.
Yeah, and that's not when Misha dies. Misha can die as much as she wants. She can be the sacrificial bear all day. Rexar just needs to stay alive. And that's really interesting.
Imagine if a Rexar player, and this has no peak, imagine if it has no peak. I don't know necessarily because I haven't played Rexar and PTR. But imagine if Rexar survives the entire game. Game goes for 35 minutes. He has 12k health, and you can't do anything. He just runs at you. He has so much health you can't do.
And that's inherently health regen.
It stacks at 4k health, apparently.
Oh, that's still a lot.
Yeah, that's not too shabby. And stacking at 4K, I mean, if it had no ceiling, that'd be pretty absurd.
Then my question is, does Rexar, once Rexar gets 4,000 health, it stops? Or is it 4,000 bonus health to his base pool of, what he would be at 20? Because at 20, he has pretty high health. I can go into try mode and do it real quick.
But
it would definitely force out an interesting playstyle, because early game you'd want to protect yourself to an extreme and try to get the most value out of that. But then late game you're pretty forward leaning because you're this high health pool beast. But if you're going up against Tychus, then Tychus would probably be yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Feel free.
It's a cool talent. This is kind of the tank talent, though. This entire tier is all about sustain. One way or another, you're getting Hunter Gatherer, Grizzled Fortitude, Animal Husbandry, or Hungry Bear, which is purely for Misha, but it's still sustained for the hero overall. And that's kind of something we're seeing more and more in Blizzard design. Is they're saying, "Well, choose." You're leveling up this part of your kit, but you're choosing a style, right? Level 7, it's always been a little bit like that too, with the multiple options for his Q. But there are other heroes like Lunara with the Wisp where they have that, and so on and so forth. Okay,
I'd like to see Hungry Bear though, because The added 115% movement speed, that means in most cases, Misha will be able to chase somebody down and they're getting 4% of their health back the whole time. That's going to make her pretty tough to deal with.
It's more for jungling, actually.
Yeah.
It's so she can survive against tougher mercs.
I
But
could see some.
I
I'm
could
thinking
see
like
it in
Rex
your
is hold out,
situation.
like holding a point or something like that.
Yeah, true.
holding a point. Also, compositions where if you do go Bestial Wrath, you could, in theory, have some synergy with that. Maybe like Tash Shield, and maybe Misha is like actually this bruiser in the front. Like
She's the secret melee assassin.
right? But she would be hard to kill, that's for sure, especially when you've got those men pets coming through.
I just think it'd be interesting. I'm going to try that out.
And yeah, I mean, I think we'll see a fair bit of diversity here. Grizzled Fortitude's going to actually be a pretty good talent now that it gives Rexar block charges as well, because it's a lot of armor for him. I mean, we're talking 75 physical armor against enemy hero basic attacks. So up to 2 charges of that. That's a lot of armor.
I think the globe talent might just be like people just default to the globe talent. It might be better. I don't know. Anyway, we can continue to 7.
Well, I think Hunter Gatherer is always going to be a staple and like a safe thing, but I think there will be scenarios in which we don't see it grabbed every time just because of the changes made here. Because I literally grabbed Hunter Gatherer every single time I played Rexar. Like, I don't know if I've ever gotten a different talent. That was when it was level 1 and things have changed.
Right.
But down to level 7 here, I don't know if they made any changes here. I think they might have buffed the slow on Crippling Talons. No,
Yeah, for me, it's pretty much always aspect of the beast. I don't know. Having a stun that often, I think that defines Rexar.
1.5
I mean,
seconds, yeah.
Crippling talents isn't bad. 50% for 3 seconds is pretty good.
Yeah,
50% slow.
Mm.
It's not bad.
There's no, I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, there's definitely value out of the other talents if you use them in that situation. But the way I like to play Rexar, like you throw the stun in right at the beginning of the fight. The moment they start to back away, the stun's going to be there again. Like they're going to be pretty short.
Yeah.
I don't think taking flight is going to be taken at all.
You might as well take a flight out of here.
Oh my god!
I knew it was coming. Like I've known Jake for long enough. I knew he was gonna make some bad joke.
It's been too long tonight since I've made a bad joke, and there we go. I think I'm with you, Halorin. I think it's all about aspect of the beast here. Like Crippling Talons, 50% slow is fine, and it's AoE. Definitely could be good, but just Misha's the stun master, man.
Yeah. There's actually some missed synergy there between 1 and 7. Like, if you did take Bird of Prey at 1, like, that's for minions. So you're kind of like this bootleg Medivh if you want to try to get value out of...
Oh, you got to hit the hero and the wave? Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, I don't...
I mean, you could go taking flight if you take Bird of Prey as the cooldown reduction, but, I mean, you basically one-shot... waves to begin with.
I mean, that's like the ultimate, like you're desperate for lane clear on Braxis. You have 0 lane clear. That's just the full throw your hands in the air and you take flight and you take Bird of Prey and you just hope you don't lose the game.
They might want to change that specific talent to have synergy at 1. I think I'd see some play then.
I almost wish this was like they wrapped these two together or something and gave him like something else interesting at this tier. Even if like one of the other talents of this tier was that Rexar gets to ride Misha and Misha's like 10% faster than a normal mount, like that, like give us that talent. Why isn't that a talent? It can be level 20, but like that needs to be a thing. What if he was perma mounted and when he Misha charged, he like threw his hands in the air and went?
Oh my gosh, Blizzard, hire this man.
I mean, he got his bloodlust dream, you know.
Well.
Never rule it out. Never say never.
Level 10, no changes as far as I can recall. Level 13, we're still going to see a lot of Wildfire Bear, especially with more and more stealthies being added to the game.
Yep.
What else? Bear Necessities, best named talent the hero had, gone. Barkskin, gone. Aspect of the Hawk, new functionality. Misha basic attacks now increase the duration and the attack speed buff by 0.5 seconds.
It's probably Wildfire Bear for the most part.
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest to get value out of.
Yeah.
I'd have to see the numbers for Dire Beast. Like if you do manage to stack that up to 400%, and that's like 20% of somebody's health, that would be pretty rough to deal with.
Yeah.
I'll do
But
it
again,
right
I would need
now.
to see the numbers. Because like imagine you're Vala, like you're just in a lane somewhere, in a team fight, and then Misha just runs up and takes like a quarter of your health off, and you're stunned in that duration. Like any sort of focus fire with that, you're just dead.
So the old C9 burst style where they did play Rexar. I see this being like really good. But again, if it's a map where you ever need clear, like oftentimes you want Wildfire Bear because it greatly assists in dealing with things like getting a mercenary camp, just the jungling with Rexar. But if Dire Beast is going to give you enough damage and you can just charge with Misha to help get that damage too, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
At level 13, wait, that's not correct, is it? No, there's no way that was correct. Sorry.
Because they both stack the percentage, so five attacks between Rexar and Misha shouldn't really take that long.
Right.
If you're actively attacking things, so I don't know. Could be interesting.
Oh, it's every single Misha charge, okay? It resets after every single Misha charge.
Oh, I see. Huh. I don't know. Sounds interesting, but I don't know if it's...
I'd have to play around with it.
It does 400. It does 491 damage with max stack at level 13, which is pretty decent. It was about a quarter of Chromie's health if it's full stack,
that's
which is pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Out of Rexar, like, and you have an assassin with you at all, like.
Yeah, they're dead.
They're
you
dead.
hit the stun.
Like Rexar Tirana with that's burst for sure.
I think you might see that show up every now and again.
Yeah, it's 491 damage max at 13.
Cool. All right, let's move down to level 16. We got Thrill of the Hunt. I don't think they really changed these talents. I think they just removed Critical Care, which was all the E talents gone. Men, Pet, screw that
Aspect
ability.
of the Rhino.
Yeah.
Or Blood of the Rhino, rather, sorry.
So Blizzard has said, we don't like this ability. We're gonna give Rexar a new ability and remove all the talents. Confirmed. GG. New ability is called Ride Misha.
I didn't see that in the patch notes.
It's probably going to be
still
Feign
strong.
Death for the most part still. Feign Death is so good.
Yeah.
The only other one, Thrill the Hunt, is not going to be taken ever. It's going to be Primal Intimidation or Feign Death.
I love the idea of Thrill the Hunt as a talent. Like the range. I just feel like it's not a level 16 talent. Like
It's too weak in my opinion for a 16
like
talent. If it was 13, maybe.
To Rexar.
I think if it was 13, it might be taken.
Yeah, maybe.
Like at a high level, you ideally would want to position Rexar in a way where you don't need this added movement speed. It's kind of like what we're talking about with Tassadar. Like if you position yourself properly, you can get away without taking Thrill the Hunt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's the PTR patch notes. I think we talked about that there's a lot to talk about with Tassadar alone.
Yeah.
But really interesting stuff that we're seeing there. Let's move on to our second topic of the night, which is the sandbox mode. And we're just going to power through this quickly to explain what it is and the implications and what it could bring. So sandbox mode is Cursed Hollow, where you have the power to control things. So you can increase damage received, damage done. You can refresh forts. You can, if you have powers, you can give powers to everyone on the team or the entire game. You can choose one team has an advantage, one team has a disadvantage. You can literally teleport across the map, which is hilarious. If you're playing Valeera and you teleport onto a Chromie and you slaughter her and you teleport back to base and you heal up and you teleport back out and you kill someone else. Feels
Trust
great.
me, I was tilting Equinox. Every time he's about to kill me, I just teleported away. And then I was playing with Nightmare. You can teleport out of Moz at a VP.
Oh my
You can just leave. You just like disappear, and they're like, "Wait a minute."
That's actually so funny. You can choose the game speed. You can make the game slow-mo. You can make the game move faster. and all these other great things. So again, I like to run esports events. I like to run competitions, and Gladius was born to be like a exhibition fun weird thing. As soon as this was announced, I'm like, hell yeah, this is going to be amazing. But as it stands presently, there's no way to add these controls in the lobby, and there's no way to give these controls to Observer. But Blizzard did state this is the first iteration, and they intend on enhancing it in the future within the patch notes. But although I don't see a ton of ease of creating tournaments for it right now, I do see fun things for exhibition events to be created. Like a pro versus semi-pro,
exactly.
where you give like a slight advantage to the semi-pro team, where they get like 20, whatever, or just
they do more damage or whatever.
Yeah. And at the same time, it could be really fun to play a game on like the faster move speed, like just to try it. Or you can turn off tributes, which is cool too. But it's
I think it's a step in the right direction. My hope for it actually speaks more towards competitive aspirations. What I would like for this sandbox thing to evolve into is like a team fight reset button. Like two teams are trying to practice mechanics, practice synergy to go into a team fight. One team wins. You hit the reset button. Everyone gets positioned the same way again. I just think that will cut down a lot of the overhead of getting back into an actual team fight to work on things and improve as a team overall. So I think if it got to that point, we would see a lot sharper play in like tournaments and stuff.
I would agree.
Shot, have you guys been like utilizing this for just practice?
Yeah. Actually, last night we did it. We were trying to practice a combo with Zeratul VP with it's a known basic combo, but we couldn't get the timing down. So we were practicing Malfurion Twilight Dream with Zeratul VP, where Malfurion stands right outside the VP and channels Twilight Dream, and Zeratul has to drop it at the perfect time so no abilities can be used by the enemy team. So basically, we only had 4 of us there, so we had Zeratul and Malfurion practicing the combo, and we had me and the VP trying to use abilities right when I exited the VP, trying to interrupt it. And so that was how we used it for the one time that we used it, and then we also messed around and trolled each other. But other than that, I think the combos are going to be the biggest thing as to why people are going to use it, as well as I see a possibility of like Hal's description of how it could be used. I think if you get like a dedicated scrim partner that wants to reset a fight and be like, yo, can we do this fight again? And like I tell my teammate to do something else. Like I think that is a strong possibility that might happen with teams that are good friends with each other.
That's
it's
cool.
like the danger room, pretty much. Like you can just set it up in a way. Teams like to practice heroic synergies, comps all the time. Obviously, they got these scrim blocks and stuff. But if you can condense that to be like, well, within an hour, we practice this one aspect like 20 times more than we would have, going through the whole progression of the game, going through draft again, going through the whole thing again. We were just able to focus on this one specific aspect. I think you would see teams improve a lot being able to do that.
One thing StarCraft has that they added down, not right away, but it did end up in StarCraft 2, is the ability to go back into a replay, and you can watch your replay, and then at the moment in which you think you lost the game, you can actually get in the driver's seat, and you can replay that moment.
I would love that.
And the computer will actually replay the other person's stuff. I'm pretty certain that's a thing. I thought that happened years ago, but if they were to make that a thing, this seems like the basis of that kind of tool existing, because this team fight goes horribly wrong. You can then as a team relive that moment and practice it and just level up as a whole, which is the dream scenario as a competitor, I think.
I think the potential there is vast, and I really hope Blizzard capitalizes on it for that.
Probably hard to execute, but huge props to Blizzard on creating this tool and giving it to us. I think it's actually like a really cool thing. It's funny because I was venting on TownHall a few weeks ago that every single Blizzard title has some form of custom setting, right? Like in this game is like feels really constricted. Like you look at Overwatch and you can You can restrict what heroes are allowed and everything all right in the lobby, which is, I think, really cool. StarCraft 2, you can make, there's an MMO built in the game, and I went on a whole rant, and obviously they've been working on this, right? They're well aware of that. The fact that this is in this patch is super cool that that's on their radar already. So I'm just pumped. I'm really excited. So let's
Jake, you can restrict which characters are played. It's called the banning phase.
Hello.
Hey.
I got him, team.
I hate you. But let's talk about a couple things. So this is, I guess, like the announcement time where I'm going to show off what I've been working on. Obviously, we know there's a lot going on in Grassroots esports, and I wanna shout out pretty much everything out there. But let's just kind of get to business quickly. So thing number one, if you look in the top corner of the screen, or if you listen to the podcast, you have no idea about this. We have started a Patreon for TownHall. After this, we are not, as of February 16th, I think. So basically 1 month from now, that will be the start of year number 4 of me creating this show. And so we started a Patreon to try to level it up, really give like in-depth coverage of HGC, which will be every week. So we know there's content to consume, content to cover every single week. We'll like kind of help viewers consume that content, deduce it down to the best matches, give recommendations for like best matches to watch, best moments, best team fights, that kind of stuff, and create that kind of content here on the show and bring TownHall to a pinnacle, I guess, of the Heroes of the Storm esports coverage. And that's not a simple thing to do. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of preparation. And to incentivize that kind of work, well, we've created a Patreon to help bring this show to that forefront. So it's just patreon.com/townhallheroes. Very simple. If you would like to contribute, monthly contributions, there's all kinds of other things we're going to bring to the table. Like once a month, Dunk and I will do viewer games with patrons. We're going to do all that coverage. We could bring back the pre-show as an option, and high-quality MP3s. I'm going to make those available, so you can have basically just a cleaner-sounding MP3 if that's something you wanted to do. And I feel like I'm missing something else. Oh, viewer questions. You're going to get access to the Arcane 8 Discord channel, where there's a Town Hall channel where you'll have exclusive access to ask viewer questions that we'll pick from. We won't be taking them from the chat anymore. We'll be doing viewer questions every week, and that will be purely from patrons that do use our Patreon. So that's plug number one, our new Patreon for Town Hall Heroes. And plug number two is a brand new Amateur Heroes of the Storm series for North America that will be starting at the end of this month. Now, this tournament series is called the Arcanum, or Arcanum. I don't actually know the proper pronunciation because I'm a goober, but that's okay. And Arcane 8 obviously is my org. Now, what's going to happen with the series is it's going to be bi-weekly, the opposite weeks of HGC Open Division. So the goal is to create competitions every single week for North America amateur teams to give them more practice and ultimately, hopefully, give them more revenue. This will be HGC pro teams and pro players will be forbidden from entering this series. It's purely amateur, and it will be Tuesday nights. So here is the details for season 1. It will be starting January 31st. Each week right now, it's going to be $100 for the prize pool. You'll play 4 weeks, and it's going to be a point-based system, very similar to HGC. Those points will go in and help you go towards the finals of each season. And season 1, I mean, we're looking at $100 a week, $250 for the finals. Nothing crazy, but this is the first step, right? We're going to be looking to bring that into season 2, hopefully with substantially more, to really just kind of increase the opportunity in North America, create more content to consume, and all of that good stuff. You can find out all the details on that by going to arcane8.com/Arcanum, and we'll make that all the other things publicly available soon. We do have the Battlefy page. This is all partnered with Twitch and Battlefy as we are starting to level things up, and registration will be open soon, but it is a few weeks out. But I'm really excited to be doing more and more with this, and I know I'm going on a bit of a ramble right now, but the plan and the vision that I have, season 1 is really just the test. Season 2, which I have in theory scheduled out, I intend to have, again, more prizing, but also it will be used as qualification for Bloodlust. And I'm hoping to make Bloodlust feel like not only feel, but also have the kind of prizing of a at least semi-major event. It's not going to be Blizzard money, right? But it still should be a good opportunity where it'll be invite for HGC teams, and then teams that play through the Arcanum in the amateur realm will have their chance to compete as well. So,
Can I say something, Jake?
of course.
I think one of the most important things that a viewer should know about this startup, this grassroots esports that you're doing, the more popular it is, the more viewership it gets, the more players it has, the more teams that are participating, the better the prize pools can possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, yes, it's pretty low, like $100. It's like, yeah, it's nothing spectacular, whatever. But at least it's a tournament that people can participate in and practice in. And then if it's popular, Arcane 8, I'm sure it's like, oh, wow, this is getting a lot of viewership. Maybe we can throw more money at it.
It's not even that we can sell more money. It's that we can sell it to sponsors. We can say this is something people care about. Then we can get sponsors behind it. And then we can reward the players more. We can raise the production bar. We can give opportunity to more casters. We can get a secondary stream rolling with incentives for those casters. And it's just going to help the ecosystem as a whole. My whole goal for 2017 is to help build up grassroots esports even more. And it's almost selfish, because that's what I had the most fun doing in my time in Heroes, was when Heroes was first a game, being one of those people that was, trying to figure out what stream assets would look like and trying to figure out how we did everything, the whole process, before we had even Heroes Draft as a thing. Like, I used to try to create small little things for that. I was the first one to ever have talents like heroic timers, because we had no actual in-game UI. I like innovating that kind of stuff. It gives me a drive, right? And I feel like there's room to drive the grassroots scene further, especially now that Blizzard's going all out with the pro scene. I want to just build even the baseline up for players, for opportunity, for viewership, everything, more consistency, the whole deal. But while we're on the topic of grassroots esports, I do just want to give like Heroes Lounge, Chair League, Heroes Hype, random CS, RCS. That's what it is, right? There's so many. Everybody the shout out that they deserve, because there's a lot of opportunity out there. ANZ has their own series, and there's going to be pretty much opportunities for everyone to jump in, play games Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Heroes Hype is on Wednesdays. Tuesday is going to be Arcanum every other week. Monday night is Chair League Pro Division. So it's like it's going to be great, I think, this year.
Also, DK Wings and Hal, ! Shot mom is not a command, and it does not make my mom appear on stream.
Just want to throw some support out there, man. Just try. I like Mama Shot.
Yeah, she's all right. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I like her too.
But to add on to what Jake was saying, like Dreadnought 101 said in chat that for the open division, 9,000 viewers showed up to watch that. So there's definitely an interest for this sort of thing. I think Heroes of the Storm has a small but passionate community, but I genuinely don't think they just know about all the different things that are going on.
Yeah.
Like I went to BlizzCon and someone was like, "Wait, what's Chair League?" And I explained it to them, and they're like, "Oh wow, that sounds amazing! Like I'd love to go sign up." And then like they did, and it's just, I think if stuff like that, like the Arcanum series gets spread out there, there will be a lot of draw and interest in it. I think people are looking for it. It just has to be known that it's out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, chat, they're talking about Kings of the Storm, the very first Heroes Tournament series.
Gosh, I was in that.
Let's
go.
That's where, so just to give you guys some, maybe even inspiration towards like chasing an esports dream, Kings of the Storm was a tournament series started by Sia Steve. And Sia Steve lived probably about 2 hours from where I was, Kubi and I. That's where Kubi and I started our casting career. I had already been working in esports, but like that's when I had swapped over to casting with Kings of the Storm, and Matt ran it. Matt is now the commissioner for the Heroes of the Storm Global Championship, and I've been creating content for 3 years since then. So it's like it all starts with one thing and consistency. So it's cool where things can go, but I'm actually, it's just one of those crazy things to think about that, and I miss creating that kind of stuff. So Arcanum's definitely going to be one of those things for me. Looking forward to creating more content like that for the hero scene. And beyond that, when the grassroots scene, it's all about open division, $1,000. every other week alternating between NA and EU. So every single week, Monday and Tuesday night. Registration is currently live. If you're watching the YouTube VOD, I'll have that button active for you in the corner. But otherwise, if you're watching here on Twitch, just scroll down and click the HGC Open Division button. That'll bring you to the NA page to sign up. Europe link can be found from that site as well. Just gosugamers.net. Go to the Heroes section. Pretty easy to find registration because there will be $14,000 in prizing this year from those weeklies per region. So that's $14,000 for NA, $14,000 for EU throughout the Open Division, and that's a good chunk of change.
For sure. And
I guess that's the perfect segue to go to our last topic of the night, as we have somehow managed to get towards the very end of the show. I told Shot, I'm like, yeah, she'll be an hour. We're 2 hours deep. So
it's okay. I got the time zones messed up anyway, so I'm completely fine.
Good. Excellent. Well, Heroes of the Storm has gotten a brand new, glorious website, and it's just heroesofthestorm.com/esports as always. But this is an amazing way to track all your esports news, categorized by region. If you only want to watch North American teams because that's where your heart lies, you can see the schedule. Prepare your day. It's all set to your time zone that you're locally in, and it's going to let you know. So 5 p.m. Friday, that's when the action starts here. Tempest Storm versus Naventic. I'm going to have my Hot Pockets, Retta, Rooney, and cheese to go in. Then, I mean, Europe obviously starts a bit sooner. Like, of course, like it's just so clean. It's very nicely executed. Obviously, not everything's up and running yet because some of the regions are a little bit different. Then there's a VOD section, which is all spoiler free. The scores are hidden. You can show the scores here. Get ready. Here come the spoilers. Oh, now you know what happened in the qualifiers. These are matches from the qualifiers, and you can click on that, and then you have to look at my face. Terrible. Don't do that.
Unfortunate. Never lucky. Gotta look at Jake's face.
Never lucky.
Oh God, yeah, just the worst. And then of course, having just very easy to understand standings. And it's great that they have the Open Division right here too. Like that's so good that they're going to be putting some emphasis on this. So all the aspiring teams that want to be pros, guess what? You're part of this. Like, you play in the Open Division, you are part of this experience. And this is how you break into the Pro Division. Open Division isn't just another tournament. It's how you become a pro player, or how you reclaim your spot as a pro player. In Shot's case, let's look into his eyes. He's literally Mr. Universe right now. And I actually want to take this moment to talk to you about Open Division. And who are you? Like, do you have any concerns? Like, you obviously... what are your name's like Vox and the Bullets or something?
It's a mixture of 3 team names because we all come from 3 different teams. We are Vox and the Busted Bullets. It's a mixture of Vox Nihili, Guster Bust, and Shot and the Bullets. If you remember Shot and the Bullets, shout out to you. You're awesome.
I used to catch the bullets.
Yeah.
That was Road to BlizzCon era, right?
Yeah, it was. That was right before we became COG. We were Shot in the Bullets Reloaded because I had an original Shot in the Bullets roster with Akaface and me on it. That was long ago. But basically our roster is Daihu, the Long Wang is back. Daihu the Legend.
For those of you that don't know, his name is Long Wang. That's his name.
His first name is Long, his last name is Wang. It's amazing. I love it. It's the best thing ever. Spam him on Twitter with Long Wang jokes. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. He'll hate me. So we have Daihu, who is out of his very short retirement, which all Heroes pros are really bad at retiring. We have Zeus from Vox Nihili. We have Nightmare from Vox Nihili and Guster Bust, because he played on Vox in the last qualifier as he left Guster Bust. And then we have Dark Chimera from Guster Bust and me from Shot and the Bullets, I guess. Even though that was not my last name. Or my last team. But yeah, so that's our team.
It's a powerhouse. It's, especially in the Open Division.
There's a lot of good, popular, esque names that people know. Our team is very much so in the infancy. If you saw my tweet last night, which I know Jake did because he liked it, we're We are working out the kinks, but we are confident that we are going to be a powerhouse in Open Division.
Are there other teams you have your eyes on in NA Open Division?
We haven't really looked that much into the other teams. The other teams, like, I mean, honestly, UTA, like the college team that's participating in Open Division, isn't a bad team at all. Nor is what's it called? Kata's Encore. They were in the last qualifier that went against DTS. They're not a bad team whatsoever. Those are the two teams that I've noticed so far. We haven't played all the Open Division teams because that's physically impossible for us. So hopefully there's a lot of good competition, but I hope that we have a very solid chance at being a powerhouse and taking it to first place.
I think Nice Esports is one of the other teams that comes out.
Yes, Nice is there. Sorry.
I hope Miasma Esports is in there. Their roster's pretty solid too.
I don't think they've signed up
them
yet, but they still have time.
I haven't. They're good. I like watching them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, I guess we can just briefly summarize like what happened in Europe as well. I didn't get to catch all the VODs yet from day 2 because the PTR went live, and I was playing Valeera all day, boys, not watching esports because that's my dedication to the PTR. We know that we have a lot of like seasoned players that did, again, kind of like Vox and the Busted Bullets. You think about Athero Angel recently being taken off Dignitas. Well, he has found a new home with Grand Piquete, Zarmany, Shadow, and Polik. The pronunciations are always
Team Zealot, right?
Yeah, Team Zealot. And they crushed through. I don't think they dropped a game in yesterday's qualifier, but MAA with these funny European characters that I don't know how to properly say because I'm an uncultured American. This is kind of a underdog story, and they made it all the way to winners finals. So like new blood coming in, like these guys, I don't know their experience level. I don't follow Europe as closely as I do NA. So these names are foreign to me. But to see a full Swedish roster just kind of roll in and get second place is like, whoa.
I was actually very impressed with them. I thought they were, I mean, no names to me because I don't follow EU as well. Like, I don't mean no names in like a very mean way. I mean, I literally do not know who they are. And for people to come in that I don't know who they are and other people don't know who they are and they're like advancing through this bracket. My team and I watched EU a little bit and we're like, wow, this MAA team is pretty good. I'm actually very impressed, and we basically predicted the Team Zealot versus MAA in finals. But I mean, not having heard of them, I'm very impressed, and I hope they stick together, and I'm sure that they can make a name for themselves.
Already out of what I've seen of the Open Division for EU, I'm making a prediction that the Crucible is going to be some of the most intense Heroes of the Storm action we see all year. Like, you see these Cinderella teams show up out of nowhere. There's already mainstay teams, like Shot's team over in EU, like Team Zealot that walk through there that all arguably deserve or should have a shot at being in the pro division, but there's only going to be so many spots. So when you follow these teams along the Open Division, you really start to root for them. It's like, wow, MAAs are like really cool. Like,
you said it too.
I did. Like, it'll be super heartbreaking to see how this all shakes out. Like, I just think the Crucible is going to be amazing.
And obviously, this season is going to be going over several months. We've got 7 of these cups that will happen. $1,000 on the line for each cup. Third place did end up going to Lat Russia. That's BKB, Andy Lendy, Lunar, and Sphyxy and Stalk. And then Team Ready Up, I think it is, for fourth place. I don't recognize the names as much, but still, like, should be cool. Should be a good opportunity for teams to rise up, claim their names, and then go to that Crucible, as you mentioned, because that's halfway through this year. There's the Crucible that he's talking about, where 2 teams from the Pro Division will have to battle the top 2 teams from the Open Division and try to claim their spots and claim their salaries in HGC. That's the dream shot, right?
High stakes.
That is the dream, the goal, the plan.
the plan. I like that.
I just really think that speaks to the genius of the HGC overall, because like last year, it's like, you know, the regionals were awesome. The qualifiers leading up to them were very entertaining and stuff to watch. But now that you get to see like the drama unfold over the course of the entire year, and then it comes to these like critical breaking points, I just think the overall investment of everybody is going to be way up over last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this portal itself is amazing for the growth of Heroes too. Like, you're talking about the overall investment of players. It's the opportunity and the drive is far more consistent. It's far greater than it's ever been. But I think the average ability to be a dedicated fan is so much easier. It's so much better. The accessibility of entry, like the getting into Heroes before was like, where do I watch events? How do I find out about events? How often are events? Not that often, right? They really weren't. They were sporadic. They were in bursts of just like content. And then Heroes would be like, it'd be like a little bit quiet and be like content. And then it'd be a little bit quiet. And like, that's kind of how the pro scene was, but now it's consistent. We have this dedicated portal for like a one-stop location to watch VODs, to check score results, everything. It's Craigasm. Blizzard, I love you.
Jake, you're doing the open division, right?
Yes. That's why there's this giant banner on my show.
True. So is there gonna be like Blizzard specific what's it called? Production value, or is it all you, or was
Arcane
all you?
Arcane 8 production. So it's
cool.
It's like Grubby did his own show and he did it his way, and I'm gonna do things my way. As I like to do stuff with Arcane 8. So
cool. Just wanted to know.
Yeah, I mean they provide most of the graphics and assets, but when it comes to execution and stuff, it's that's
up to the streamer, up to the caster.
Yeah, and a lot of people were asking in my personal stream, will Jay Howe be flying up the way he did for the 2017 qualifiers? The answer is no. He will be casting from home. Just doesn't make sense to fly back and forth for a Tuesday night every other week. Like the cost, the overhead is just it's exponential.
Yeah, it'd be pretty rough.
The actual gain in quality isn't really. I don't think there's merit for that. So yeah, it should be a fun year. I mean, between Arcanum and Open Division and Chair League and Heroes Lounge, which has been doing an amazing job in Europe, I think it's going to just be a hell of a year for Heroes. And it all really begins in like 2 days. That's when HGC will be launching and in full swing. And every single Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you've got best of fives, like 6 of them a day? No, 4 a day for NA. 2 NA, 2 EU every day, best of 5. So lots of games.
Yuge is in the chat, and he's interested in predictions. I predict UTA last place.
Oh, is he talking about?
Got him.
Is he talking about pro? We did predictions last week for the pro scene.
Nah, he's predicting Open Division. UTA last place.
Last place. Correct.
On blast.
I don't know if I'm ready to make predictions for NA. The registrations aren't done yet, so once we have a better idea of who's going to be competing, we'll see.
Yeah, I think the first go around of Open Division will give us some insight to how
he is talking about HGC.
The rest of it can go.
Dang.
Get wrecked.
Yeah. Whatever. My shit talk still stands.
Well, we are just about at that limit of time, and I know you've got scrims coming up soon, Shot, so we're going to progress to our shout-outs for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining us and coming on. Halorin, take it away, man.
I would take a side note to give a special shout-out to the news writers that follow the Heroes esports scene. Because you think about it, like last year, every regional qualifier, there's probably a few news articles, obviously the championships, but they're going to have to be cranking out content pretty much weekly now. Like that is going to be quite the task. And I always check that stuff out, so I appreciate it. So thank you very much. But yeah, my name is Lauren. Like I said, I cast a bunch of stuff. In fact, I'm casting Heroes Hype tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, which I'm very excited about over at Twitter or twitch.com/Heroes_hype. Wednesday nights, ton of fun. But yeah, I'm on Twitter as well at _Halorin. I always tweet like whenever I'm doing stuff. I like to have fun, and I just stream and cast and have a good time.
Talk about video games, the dream. Well, thanks so much for joining us, man. Shot, take it away, bro.
For one, I want to give a shout out to my team: Zeus, Nightmare, Daihu, and Dark Chimera, and me. I mean, I'll shout myself out because I'm on my team, I guess. I'm not narcissistic, I swear. I swear I'm not narcissistic. Shout out, an additional shout out to Nightmare, the most underrated melee assassin in the scene. Shout out to my manager, The Source. He's a fantastic manager, probably one of the best that I've ever had. And shout out to you, Jake, for putting us on the show.
Nice. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well,
absolutely.
Shout outs to you guys for joining me here tonight on the show. Shout outs to everyone for tuning in. And once more, be sure to check out arcane8.com. It's ARCANE 8.com. You can click on the drop down for the Arcanum. I guess I should make a news post on the website too. I can't multitask that hard and like post news articles, run a show, announce things. It's too much effort right now. And to all the people that have started helping me out, we put a tweet out on Arcane 8 to expand our capabilities, expand our potential for running these events, building assets, production, everything. And I got over 100 emails, and wow. I've got in touch with a good number of people already to start helping build basically just cool shit for the community. That's all I want to do, and I'm super thankful for everyone. I can't do everyone's names. There's too many names to name right now, but you know who you are. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you for everyone for tuning into Town Hall for what has nearly been 3 full years of this show. We're about to enter our 4th year of this podcast, which is insane. And have a glorious evening. I'm going to go cook hot dogs. I'm going to eat at least 3 of them probably. And I'm going to continue being a fat ass. GG's, everyone. Have a great night.